When it comes to literacy and comprehension, people often wonder, what is the best way to improve them? Some feel that reading long-form literary prose is the end-all be-all, while others feel that audiobooks and comic books are sufficient. So who's right? If there actually is a right answer, that is. As a neuroscientist, I feel I need to break down the mechanisms of how things actually work. If we're talking about reading literary prose, we're essentially having visual sensory input to see text. Reading comic books, we also have visual sensory input using our eyes to see pictures and text as well. Listening to an audiobook, we're actually using our ears and we're processing auditory words and sounds that we hear. And then playing a text-based RPG game similar to Pokemon. We use our eyes to see the text and the images, and then we use our ears to hear the sounds, and we use our fingers to touch the buttons. Studies have found that when people listen and read the same stories, the same areas of the brain are engaged regardless of the medium. In reality, your brain doesn't really care how it gets the information, as long as it has meaning that can be processed and comprehended. Even if the sensory input method is different, we process semantic information in similar ways. At the end of the day, literacy and comprehension are a collection of muscles, both literally and figuratively, and we must exercise them regularly in order to improve them. There's no one-size-fits-all for any given situation. So when I was studying for the MCAT for the second time trying to get into medical school, my goal was to try to get above a 500. The MCAT is the medical college acceptance test that tests you on 4 different core areas: chemistry and physics, reading comprehension, biology, and psychology. I was good at chemistry and physics, and I have a bachelor's and a master's in psychology, so I wasn't really worried about those, but biology and reading comprehension, I was absolute trash at. I've always had difficulties reading since middle school and high school, and I avoided it as much as possible. It wasn't until I was introduced to graphic novels as a sophomore that I actually started to enjoy books a little bit more. I was more of a problem solver than a reader, and the path of least resistance was improving my biology scores. So I spent every day for 3 months reading and studying my biology books in hope of having huge strides in that section to complement my other strong section. And reading comprehension, I kind of just threw to the birds. It was just whatever. Joke's on me though. When I took my actual test, it wasn't the score distribution that I was actually hoping for. I got a 127 in chemistry and physics. I got a 129 in reading comprehension. I got a 122 in biology, and I got a 126 in psychology. To my surprise, on paper, I scored within the top 10% on physics, chemistry, and reading comprehension. And my biology score actually went down despite focusing on biology and neglecting the comprehension of reading altogether. Little did I know that my actual approach of reading huge biology books every single day was actually the solution to my reading comprehension problem. I read so much over a long period of time that I just got better at it. And that improvement led to me getting into medical school and ultimately becoming an MD PhD student and the first Black one in the state of Nevada, which is wild. I always tell the story partly because it's a great example of the impact of literacy and reading comprehension on my life in particular, but also a perfect example of how nuanced the best solution is for improving reading comprehension and literacy. Most would agree that as long as you are reading something that is long enough and complex enough to get you to think and reflect, any form of reading will suffice. Whether it's a literature book, a comic book, or even an audiobook. A book is a book. What I found in my own personal journey and in others' journeys as well is that we must be considerate of the reading experience and how it alienates people from the benefits of reading. Whether it's boring, unrelatable, or difficult, all of those things actually matter because those are the determining factors for whether we pick up a book or turn on a screen. That's why my work as a neuroscientist is so important to me. I research innovative ways that emerging technology can be used to improve health, literacy, and education. My latest attempt is with this project called Cutie Catcherz. It's an augmented reality comic book that teaches skin health and microbiology through a quirky adventure story about a stuffed animal trying to save his best friend from a cootie outbreak on their magical island. It's a story that resonates with me on a definitely personal level, but also a perfect example of the power of innovation. You can read it like a regular book, watch it like an anime show with subtitles, listen to it like an audiobook, or play it like a video game. It's the most innovative and immersive experience you will ever hold in the palm of your hands. More importantly, it is so accessible that you actually don't need to know how to read to enjoy the story, because that's the thing that actually matters. And that's the point, engaging in long-form storytelling regardless of the medium. So it's immersive, even to the point where I may actually try to translate it in multiple languages, so you don't actually need to know English to enjoy it as well. Just peak innovation, right? And so if Cütie Catcherz sounds like something that you'll be interested in supporting, you can support this project by backing it on Kickstarter from July 17th to September September 10th and join me on this wonderful mission to narrow literacy gaps one book at a time and ultimately make the world a healthier place for us all.